All right. Good evening, everybody. Sometimes I'm at the evening, sometimes morning. So
Right.
whenever you're listening to it, it's good. I hope it's a
Right.
good day. So I am here today with my beautiful friend, Liz.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
So I'm so excited. I've been waiting for a long time to do this interview.
Yes.
What Hope is, just so everybody knows, is helping other people evolve. My name is Tammy Lynn Connors, and my mission and vision with Hope is just to help people get through their struggles. We all have struggles, but so many of us have hope and strength that we can share with others. So when I do these, I am just envisioning somebody getting out of bed that day because they heard Liz's story or Ross's story or Jamie's story or whoever I'm interviewing. Because, I think that people feel like they're at home, they're all alone, they don't have any hope. And that's all I want to do is just bring a little light to this world and hope. And this lady right here is a vision of light and hope. I've known Liz, well, we started the casino. You started right when it opened, right?
2012. Yes.
So 2012, we worked together at the casino.
Yeah.
And we kind of became soul sisters right then because we
Absolutely.
had quite a bit in common. So
Right.
this lady has an amazing, amazing story, testimony. Just her hope is amazing. Her kids are just, I don't know, you're just a light in the world, Liz.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like to think so. Well, let's just start off with how we bonded. I think that's where we'll begin, is
Yes.
how we bonded.
Yes.
And yes, through work, yes, we did the same things. We were dealers. We I think we worked the same shift.
Yeah,
If
we
not,
did.
we overlapped
Yeah.
to
I
where
think we pretty much worked the same
I think
shift
we
though.
did.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's where it began. But our bond that we really became who we are today is through something that no parent wants to go through.
Right.
It's losing a child.
Yes.
And I think when you asked me about talking about my struggles, there's so many. I can go from childhood through adolescence to adulthood, and there's significant struggle through it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to talk about the struggle of loss, because that is probably my greatest, and that is probably, knowing that you understand that it's just something that we deal with every day, throughout the day. Some days are easier than others, and some days it's not so easy. So that's where I kind of want to begin, and that's what we'll talk about.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's not awesome that that's what we get to talk about, but it's okay.
Right.
Liz and I, like she said, we do share that. And when we found out that together, we definitely have that bond with each other with that.
Yes.
So
I started having children at 18, 18, 19, 20. I had 3 children. So 3 kids, busy mom, very young, learning everything inside of a busy home. My oldest, Aliciana, my second child, Dominic, and Isreal. 3, 2, and 1. I had to go through the unimaginable, and I lost Isreal, my 3rd child. He was 1 year old, 13 months. He was actually 13 months old, walking, running around. He wasn't sick. He died of SIDS. Is that your son died of SIDS as well? Okay, that's what I thought. And if you know, SIDS is just a label that they put on, on your child if they don't know exactly what happened. So what they do is they rule out everything: stroke, heart attack, anything obvious, any blood disease, anything that maybe was out of the ordinary or some rare disease. They just rule everything out, and then they label. If there's nothing there that's obvious, they label it as SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. Very rare at 13 months that a child would die of that, but it does happen up to the age of 4, just a little education.
Yes.
That morning, my world was flipped upside down. It was unimaginable. Let's go back to the night before he passed. As a mom, we have routines. My routine was, he was usually the one to go to bed first. And because he was the youngest, the 2 were a little older. That day before, he took an early nap, and he woke up late. So I put the two kids to bed first, and he stayed up with me. I think Big Dom was gone. My little cousin that lived with me, he was on the couch and he was laying down. It was kind of like one-on-one time with me and him. And we sat in the rocking chair. I taught him peekaboo that night. We were playing. He liked to swing his arm and hit. So he was hitting around, and it was just me and him, just me and him on my lap, rocking back and forth, just mom and son bond time. I remember, well, it's time. It's getting late. We'll take him up to bed. Same old, put him in his crib, and walked out of that room. Had to be to bed early, had an early day, started to start work, and he woke up in the middle of the night and he was crying. And I remember getting up on the side of the bed and saying, "Well, I'm just tired. I got to get up in a few hours." Like, man, I'm like, got up, took a few steps, and he stopped crying. I never went in the room. In the morning, I got up just to check on him and the other kids, change his diaper if he needed it, if he needed his bottle refilled, do all that. I went in there. He was laying face down. It wasn't normal. It wasn't abnormal. He walked, so babies sleep on their stomach.
Right.
And I remember just looking in the crib, just kind of confused, but didn't know anything out of the ordinary. Just kind of looking at him, and I remember grabbing this bottle, taking it downstairs, washing it out, putting whatever I put in there. Went back upstairs and just kind of just staring at him. And I remember lifting him up just to turn him over to change his diaper, and he was hard as a rock, like a doll. Arms stiff, blue. That's when I realized something was wrong.
Yeah.
And I went in the room and I told Big Dom, my kid's father, I'm like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the baby. I don't know what's going on. It's chaotic. I'm screaming. He wakes up out of the blue, like in distraught, like what is going on?
Right.
Like, just, I can't, hard to explain, his reaction. I think he reacted from my face, you know what I mean? And my reaction, he goes in there and grabs him. I'm looking for the phone. Can't find it, obviously, it's just chaotic. Run outside, go get the neighbor's phone. My neighbor comes over and he goes upstairs. He starts resuscitating him. We call 911. 911 comes. They're trying to, they're resuscitating him. They grab him. They just grab him up and start taking him away. And I remember when they took him away, his feet were dangling. And I thought, there was some hope. They're like, oh, I think he'll be all right. I think something's, he's fine. We get to the hospital, which we weren't too far away from. And they take me in this conference room. And they're like, what happened? Told him what happened. Told him, all details. And I remember my godmother behind me saying, it's going to be okay.
I know. We're just going to cry here together. We might be blubbering fools for a minute.
Right.
But yeah, it's okay. Just take your time, Liz. 100%. I sit here, I'm looking at the beautiful sunset right now because it just, the hurt in your heart, and it's like when we bring it up and we talk about it, it's almost like reliving it all over again. I know. And I made tissues, and I knew that this was going to be hard because it is hard, and that's and I really appreciate you talking about it. And if we need to stop, we can.
No.
But I just, in hopes of others, because going through this, but you're still here, and a lot of it, I don't know for you, but for me, Chad, my son, was what kept me strong through the rest of it.
We'll get there.
Yes.
Definitely we'll get to that because I can relate.
Yes.
We're in the conference room, and I remember my godmother saying, "Is me okay?" And he said, "No." He passed away in the middle of the night, and there's nothing we can do. So I run back there, and he's just there. And it was pretty heartbreaking. Um, that was the beginning of a brand new life I had to learn to live. Um, Tough. I didn't know if I was going left or right. I didn't understand what was going on. I couldn't grasp what was happening.
Right.
But, days go on, time, just keeps going. It doesn't stop for you.
Right.
It doesn't stop for anything and nothing. Good, not so good, traumatic, over the top, it doesn't stop,
Right.
And we had to leave him there. And it was the beginning of a brand new world for me, something I didn't understand.
Right.
But as the days went on, a lot of that's very vague. A lot of it is, I don't know if you can relate to that. Like a lot of things from like that, the time he passed, the funeral, just shortly after, all of that is really, really foggy.
Oh yeah, for me too. 100%.
Foggy. Like there's just things that, some memories come back and I'm like, oh, that did happen.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I did see them, or, whatever or whatnot.
Yeah. It's all a big blur to me too.
Yeah.
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 It really
is. It's just, it's crazy. It's just, I guess it was just too overwhelming. I guess maybe it wasn't meant for us to kind of, filter all of that and just take the moments that were maybe most important. Or if we were to remember something at that time, we needed to remember that for whatever else.
Yes.
Or however else it was,
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's for us. It's for us. Like
right.
the situation is for us, this, whatever happens to us isn't, it's not intentional. It's not to harm, or it's not to punish, and I had to learn that. I had to learn that this wasn't punishment. Like I didn't do anything to deserve this, but I do believe that it happened for me. And this is 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, I truly understand that, and I'll get to that it's for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my biggest struggle, is just loss. As the days went on, months go by, it's you're numb.
Right.
You're numb. And you get this urge of happiness, or you catch yourself laughing, and then you're like, oh my God, why am I laughing?
Right.
I'm not supposed to laugh.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
You stop yourself. So even though that healing process happens, you second guess yourself, or you just, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Or you could be, just totally in the groove of things, just trying to get through the day, and you'll hear a song, or you hear something be said, even if it's not directly to you, and it'll stop you dead in your tracks.
Yes.
And it'll just, throw you off. And I can say that happens even 20 years later, and I'm sure it happens to you too.
It does.
Time went on. My kids were fairly young, so they still needed me. You got to get up. I had to get up. I don't know how I did, but I did. I got up, and I continued. And I think through growing up, I grew up in the church, being there every Sunday, and I fell back. I fell back into the church because when you're a kid, I shouldn't say most kids, but some kids don't want to go to church.
Right.
I didn't want to go to church.
Right.
I didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to be there an hour early. We had to be there an hour early. Why? I don't know. Front row. We were just totally involved, and I'm thankful for that. Thanks, Dad.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm thankful for that now, because
Right.
I fell back into the church. So, when things are, when the rug is, pulled from you, you fall back into what you know. And I knew right then and there that we were going to raise our kids probably in a private school where they could learn faith and they can learn about, the Bible and just have some foundation of what
Yes.
life
Life
is,
is, right. Yeah.
not just reading, writing, or anything. And that's what we did. As time went on, it seemed like it was easier, but internally for me, it wasn't.
Right.
I was still, I was kind of stuck just in the moment, and I lived very numb for many years. Even though it looked, like, okay, well, she's fine, she's okay.
Right,
The kids are running, I'm chasing.
Right.
Your family gatherings, and you put a smile on.
Yes.
You put it on. It's paint. It's
Yes.
paint, baby. But inside, you're just being eaten alive, and you don't understand. And I remember going forward, years later. At that time, I was not big on going to the cemetery. When we did, it was about a 20-minute drive for us, and I relived that. I relived the morning. I relived finding him. I relived everything. Just that moment. So that was very hard for me. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
That was just tough. So and Dom, my kid's father, was the total opposite. He's like, let's go to the cemetery. Let's get a football. The cemetery where he's at. The headstones are flat, so it's just like, let's get a football. Let's play catch with the kids. We're gonna hang out there. And I'm like, do you really want to?
Right. Right. Do we really have to?
I was, I toughed it out for them, but it would just eat me alive. And I think we'd go there very often. And obviously he knew that I did not want to go. I mean, I think I probably made that clear, like, I don't want to go. Or, we'd go and we'd hustle, or, we'd huddle around the headstone, and we would say what we'd say, or we'd sit there quietly and do our thing. But once that was over and the kids kind of dwindled off, I'd go to the car,
right,
and I'd stand. I probably wouldn't sit in the car, but I would stand by the door. I was done.
Yeah.
And there was one time where we were there, and that's what happened. And Dom says, Liz, there's something wrong. That's not, I don't want to say he said that's not normal, but he was just like, it shouldn't be this tough, and I think maybe you should talk to somebody to kind of work out your feelings, or maybe, to sort things out that you're not expressing. Because by that time you're just bottled up.
Right.
I mean, everything's just bottled up. You just go through the motions, and you just,
live life.
You live, whether it's dull or whether it's zombie mode or happy or whatever it was. You just moved. You moved with it.
Right.
You're kind of just like, flowing with the wind, or you're on that boat and you're just going with the current, or the waves.
Yeah.
And you just hope to get to where you need to be. And with the family, they pull you along. So even though I was drifting in every direction, my family was pulling me along, and I was getting to where, getting through the day or whatnot. But he goes, something's wrong, Liz. I think you need to talk to someone. I think you need to, like, sort stuff out, and, just get better, because, you're not the same. And, so caring and being observant of me, I appreciated that, because I never would thought counseling or talking to somebody. I mean, I can't even say that was an option. I don't think I ever thought of that.
Right.
But I did. I took his advice and got into counseling, and sorted a lot of things out through the woman I spoke to, like, once or twice a week. And through counseling and through being verbal, because you're not verbal.
No.
You don't want to be verbal. You just want to put that face on and continue, and just, you don't want to be verbal. Or am I allowed to be verbal?
Right.
Is this the right time to be verbal? Because sometimes what would happen too, and I don't know if, I'm sure you can relate, but sometimes, we'd have a normal conversation, and I'd say, well, hey, Mello, Mello used to run around and do this, or he had red pajamas too. And then, the people around you,
They like stop.
Stop. Yeah, they don't know what to say.
No, they don't.
Right.
They look at you like,
yeah, like deer in headlights.
what do I say?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So then you regress.
Right.
Even though like that wouldn't have made me sad, it was just something that popped in my head. I wanted to talk about.
Right.
Or not even thinking, just hey, bringing them up. Most people don't know how to react.
They don't. And can I stop there real quick and talk about that a little bit? Because I've talked to a lot. So I remember when I'm going to bring up my bonus son here, Nicholas, when he was killed in a car accident in 2012, actually, right before we started the casino. And I remember after the funeral and everything, it was in February. And then in May, they were doing the cemetery thing. And his mom, Kelly, who Nick has been my bonus child since he was like a year and a half, 2 years old. Right. So his mom spoke at the cemetery and her exact words were, my biggest fear, I'm going to get emotional, is that that people will forget him, that the memory will not be there, and we were all like, well, no one could ever forget Nick. And then the more I've talked to people that have lost, whether it's a husband, wife, sibling, mother, father, that's the biggest fear, that people will not let their memory live and they'll forget about them. Right. And the biggest fear is people they don't know what to say to you, and with us, they were littles, like 6.5 months old, 13 months old. There's not a lot of memories of them, but we still have them. So we can still say those little things. Like I'll say sometimes, I remember when Cody was crawling across the floor and he grabbed a cord and he was putting it in his mouth, and Chad was only like 3.5 or something, almost 4. And he was like, Cody, you're going to electrocute yourself, So those are little memories, but, and people just don't understand. So I always, when I'm talking to people about that, is let their memories live. And if we start talking, it's okay, because, but it's the same thing. They look at you like, wait, what do I do? Do I say anything? I don't. And I just had somebody else just say that the other day. Like, I don't know to this mother whether to mention their child or not. I'm like, mention their child. Right.
Yes.
Mention
do it. Yes. Do it, because I have a tattoo with my son's name on it. Mm-hmm. It says Isreal, and it's on my wrist. And this is one of my first tattoos. I put it there for a reason, for me to see myself, to look down and see it myself, knowing that he's with me. Mm-hmm. And what also does for me is people are like, hey, what's that say on your wrist? Right. And I was like, Isreal, that's my son. He passed away so many years ago. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bring that up. I'm like, no. And this happened a lot at the casino, a lot at the casino. And I, oh, I'm so sorry, like I didn't want to, I don't want to. No, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing him up, because that gives me an opportunity to talk about him. I miss him. I do. Yeah. Thank you. And we'll go on. I never really got into detail because you always had to have that face on, but it was always, like he's my angel. Yeah. He's made me a strong woman, and I appreciate you. And they're like, wow, like I never would look at it like that. I thought I would make you upset. And I'm like, no. Yeah. It's like, because I have the boys, I know you have them tattooed on you too. Right. And I have the boys right here on my leg, and everybody's like, oh, well, now they ask me if that's my grandkids. I'm like, no, those are my boys. But when I tell them, I'm like, yep, Chad would be 32 and Cody is in heaven. He's my angel. And that's the same thing. And I get it. People are like, oh, I'm so sorry to me to bring it up. I'm like, no. I love him. He's here. Yeah, I love him. Here. Right. He's my angel. He's my guardian angel. Right. And yes, like you said, thank you for asking. Yes, and thank you. It kind of it molds us who we are. Correct. And sometimes we need to be reminding of that, because we go through the motions, we go through just the everyday life, and we don't forget, but sometimes we just have to take that step back in order just to reground and be like, okay, well, look, wow, I was crying about, my car having a flat and this and that, or so-and-so not responding to me about whatever. But that is nothing compared to my, come on, or whatever, your financial situation or anything. Yes. So, at the end of the day, your biggest struggle is your greatest strength.
Mm.
If you want it to be.
Yes, that's so good.
If you want it to be,
Yes.
it shouldn't stop us. It's just, it molds us, and it helps us become who we are.
Yes.
20 years later, how many years for you?
29.
29 years
29.
later, 21 years later for me.
Yeah.
And gosh, I mean, the people that I come across, the just the experiences I've had, you don't cross paths with people by mistake.
No, not at all.
And I think that because of what I've gone through, and mind you, I was 21 years old when my son died. 21.
You're a baby.
I was a kid. And it one day it just hit me like, wow, I didn't even experience real life yet. My big toe wasn't even in real life's water.
Right.
It
true.
wasn't.
Right. No, that's a good way to put it. Right.
And wow.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
And here I am.
You are.
Here I am, like living for him.
Yeah.
Just moving for him. And if it's a struggling day, I'm struggling for him.
Right.
At the end of the day, I've surpassed the time where, a lot of people go through things and they can't get out of bed, or they just can't function. They don't know which way to go. They just can't move. I've surpassed that, and I'm grateful for that. I have my small moments, but they're really short-lived. It just reminds me, like, all right, Liz, like, just regather yourself, like, turn on the music, and I'll realize that it's crazy because when I go through them struggles, it'll be something like, I haven't turned on music in 4 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, just the stuff that keeps the air, the air circulating inside of us, that special air that, if we eliminate that, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right. Yeah.
Or, your routine's thrown off a little, and, you sit back and like, all right, gather yourself.
Right. Regroup.
Get it together.
Turn
that radio on.
Right. Crank it up, whatever it is that you got to do. I mean,
yes.
I'll even notice that in the morning sometimes because, I get up in the morning and I always do a gratitude prayer, like, thank you, God, just for waking me up today. And then I'll go into my prayers. And if there's days that I'll like miss that for like 3 days, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, what is off in my world? And I know that I have to do that or whatever it is that we need to do.
Right.
I'm going to back up just a little bit here before we get any further. But when you spoke about counseling, I just want to reiterate that because I feel like almost every podcast I do, we talk about counseling and people, it has such a stigma.
Yes.
Like, I remember my mom even, I would be like, Mom, you really should go talk to a counselor. And she's like, I don't need to talk to a counselor. And I'm like, you've told me some of your life story. Yeah, you do, and she didn't want to get out of bed and things like that sometimes, and I just like to reiterate that. And, neither one of us are counselors, so I'm not like trying to plug a counselor here, but I'm just saying, find someone that you can talk to like that. Because like Liz said, with Dom pointing that out to you and you doing that, it helped.
Yeah. And I would have never, like, that would have never crossed my mind. It would have never crossed my mind that there was that obviously he saw something that he couldn't help me with.
Right.
So, and I'm grateful for him because, in and out of counseling for, I think, over a year at that time was tremendous. It helped me sort out what I was going through. It helped me pinpoint things that I didn't even realize I was fighting.
Right.
Right. But once it's all out and it's on the table and you can, you're like, oh, well, that's why I did that. Yeah. Or this is why I'm feeling the way I am because of this. And you're almost, you're almost ahead of the game, or you just realize you can stop yourself before it gets too far.
Yes.
And, counseling is just amazing. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're not crazy.
Right.
It's helpful. It really is.
It really is.
whether it's with a group, one-on-one, or anything, just let it out, because we can bottle it up. And if it stays there, it just, it turns into poison.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that we turn in mean or we turn green or anything, but it just slows us down, and it stops us from being who we are or who we're meant to be.
Yes.
Because what we've gone through, good, not so good, has molded us to who we are meant to be. And I can say that I've talked to people. People know me. They know what I've been through. They know that I stay as positive as possible.
Yes.
And so they come to me with their problems, or they come to me with their issues, and I'm all ears. And through my experience of loss, I do have advice. I do have answers. I can tell you, look, just take a step back, or this isn't your fault.
Right.
There was a woman that I don't even know who she was, walking in the grocery store. I just must have had a really heavy face. And you don't even realize that. You don't even realize you wear your feelings all over you. You do. You do. And at that time where I was very numb, she's probably in her 60s, and I'm in the grocery store, I'm doing my thing, and I think we crossed paths, and then we crossed again. But the second time she crossed me again, she goes, "Ma'am, so can I talk to you for a minute?" And I said, "Yes, sure."
Right.
She said, "Whatever is in your heart, and whatever is on your mind, or whatever's weighing you down, take it for what it is, and allow it to make you strong, because whatever happened was not your fault, and there's nothing you could have done about it. There's nothing that you could have changed that could have stopped whatever it was, and just know that you're not alone."
Wow.
It's a complete stranger.
Wow.
I mean, I must have been she must have smelt it.
Right.
I was wearing it, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, wow, it's not my fault. Because we go through that.
Oh, for sure.
The sadness, the guilt,
sure. The guilt,
the anger, the whys,
the what ifs.
What ifs. Oh, the what ifs,
the
boy.
what ifs. Woo! I just was talking to somebody about the what ifs. Actually, it was Jamie Dio. We were talking about somebody saying to her, what if, and the what ifs.
Right.
Yeah.
The what ifs. What if I would have went in that room? What if I would have went in that room? What if I would have went in there? What if I didn't stop after he stopped crying? Would he still be here? I don't know. Maybe if I would have went and got him and laid him with us, he would have died in my arms.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can't live with the what ifs
No,
at all. And I have to say that lady, they say there's angels among us.
Oh gosh, yes.
So I mean, for that, just to say those things to you, it's like God was like, here, you need some reassurance here.
Yeah. And that was God speaking. And I think God sends messages through people, through music, through even where we travel, even if it's the grocery store. You've ever been in line and you hear the conversation and you hear, well, just something you need to hear.
Yeah.
Whether it's, don't stop, don't quit, keep going, you're on the right path.
Right.
They're not talking to you, but they're talking to you.
Right.
They're talking to you guys.
Exactly.
They're talking to you.
That's exactly it.
It's just angels.
Yes.
And I had a conversation with my son. We were working together for a little while, my oldest son, Dominic, and he had brought up, do you think it was something about suicide, people committing suicide, and just, is it understandable? Something of that sort. And, I said, death is, it's inevitable. It's, you can't predict it, it just happens. It's a part of our life, and sometimes it's a part. It's more livid, you know, to some of us. Some of us don't experience it. They have a grandparent that die, and then no one else. That later on, it's for me, death is a part of my life.
Yes, mine too.
Death is just in my circle, and young, old, unfortunate, self-inflicted, through addiction, just things. It's just a part of my life. It's around me. It lives around me. I can't take it away. We just have to get through it.
Right.
And is it fair? No, but it's just what it is.
Right. Right.
And we just go through it. We get through it. And I think being the conversation that me and my son were having, he mentioned suicide, and he said, does God punish people that that commit? And I'm like, I don't think so, son. I said, no, I don't think that's how it works. I can tell you that some people aren't. They're born to live short lives. They're born to live short. I told him, I said, I firmly believe. I can't answer that question about anyone that commits suicide and how that evolves. I can tell you from what I know, or maybe my perspective of it, because this is my perspective, and this is what I firmly believe. I firmly believe that my son was born not to live very long. I think his time was at 13 months. Definitely not enough time.
Right.
But 23 years wouldn't have been enough time. 43 years wouldn't have been. 57 years wouldn't have been enough time if I had a son that died at 57, if they were 57.
Right.
It's not enough time. But I think he died for me to make me who I am today, for you, and for everyone that's crossed our paths. I have a lot of nephews and little cousins, and I kind of
you are.
I gather the kids.
She is the kid. The kid. Anytime I would see pictures, it'd be like kids flopped all over the place.
Well, those are all hers, but there's 2 or 3 more. Yes,
yes.
So, and I told him, I said, remember when all the cousins were coming over and they were hanging out? Like those kids, they're my Band-Aids. And they have their own stories. They have their own struggles. But if I, unconsciously just bringing them into my world and just making sure they're okay, or, I wasn't giving them money or anything, I was probably feeding them, they were hanging out, and that was pretty much it. But I'm like, if I didn't experience the loss of your brother, how could I be who I was to, Ricky and Juan and Jason and all the kids that came in and out of this house, or even the kids that we took in that we've helped raise, whether it was 1 year, 4 years, or 3. There's been so many. How can I be that person if I didn't experience the loss of losing your brother? Those that helped me, and it's unconscious. It wasn't like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get them because I'm feeling really sad today and I need no, it just happens. They come, they're there, but they were part of my healing process. So I firmly believe that my son passed to make me who I am today. And there's so many conversations I've had at the casino, in church, social, at the bar, people just flock. They flock, they want to talk, and I'm open ears, and I help them in that way. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't experience what I have. And I know people come across, you, and it's the same way.
Yes, it is. And
to this day.
And it's the same thing, right?
And it's humbling, isn't it humbling?
Oh, it's so humbling.
It's like, it's almost like a warm blanket. It's like, okay, we may not understand why things happened, or why, why they passed.
Right.
But when you get the results of helping this person or doing this for that, and just putting a smile, like, wow, you really did help me, or what you said really made sense, or all of that. It's just a warm blanket of comfort,
Yes.
knowing that um,
They're not alone.
they're not alone. They're not alone.
That's it.
They're not alone.
They're not alone. And this is why I do Hope.
Right.
To let people know you're not alone out there.
Right.
There's so many struggles that people go through, but there's so much strength and so much hope
Right.
that we're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go to a little happier subject.
Right.
And you have how many kids now?
I have 6.
Six.
Yeah. 5, 6.
She's 6 kids.
6 kids. So right now, my oldest daughter, Luciana, she's 24. Dominic is 23. My son Israel that passed, he would have been 22. Twin boys that are 18. They're currently at Wait High School. They're seniors this year. And my youngest is 15 years old.
Yeah. So she's got a whole house full.
Yeah.
And I haven't met any of them personally, but I just watch and see. And I know that I'm going to give a little shout out to your twins. Yes. I don't know any of the other ones, but the reason why I'm doing this is not that I'm doing this. It's because I've heard this. We did an event at the Solheim Cup at Inverness Golf Course. Yeah. And her boys had been caddies there for the summer.
Their first year caddies.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I mentioned it to one of the guys that was a caddy there. And he had nothing but like, oh my gosh, he's like, I love those boys. And he had been a caddy there for like 8 or 9 years, he said. And he was like, I love those boys. He's like, they are so respectable. They're always wanting to learn. They listen. And I'm like, those are Liz's boys. That's why, they come naturally to it. But that's just shows like through all of your struggle, you still instill that in your boys.
Absolutely.
Or your kids, your daughter. Yeah. But, you still instill that. And I think that, Chad says that to me too, because, Chad's 32 and he's been through it too, right? He's had his struggles too, but all in all, he'll thank me like, Mom, you with your strength, you helped me to be stronger. Yes. And I think that, like we said, yes, there's a reason why we lost our children so young. And that's made us who we are today. But that made us to help others be stronger. Right.
And the strength, just, it's contagious. They catch on to it. And you don't realize that. We go through the motions. We just do what we do. But they just feed right into it. So my kids are, they fed right into me, just keeping it going. And, they probably don't even realize how they've helped me.
Right.
Without them, I don't know where I would be. Even though when things were right at the beginning and everything was a fog, they were there. They're the ones that got me, Aliciana and Dom are the ones that got me off that couch. I had to get up eventually, because what happens is people come, they come to your rescue. They're there. They're supportive. Yes. But then as time goes on, everyone dwindles away. Everyone gets back into their life, and that's okay.
Yes.
That's fine. Like, it happens. I've said this to people many of times that have gone through loss. And they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want no one to leave. I don't want no one to leave. I want everyone to come back every day. That's not feasible.
Right.
It's not feasible. Right. You just have to make sure that you stay strong, because everyone is going to dwindle away. People are going to call and check up on you. Yeah. Be grateful for that, even if it's just one. But you got to get up. And I'm so grateful for my kids, because they kept me up. They kept me moving, even when I didn't want to, And, I'm so thankful for my kids, they remind me every day of, I got through it. I'm still going through it, but I've gotten through it. I didn't stop, because if I would have stopped, then they wouldn't have, they wouldn't be as positive as they are.
Right.
They wouldn't be as respectful as they are, or, anything. They would just find their own paths.
Yeah.
And, everything, there's tough stuff right outside our door.
Yeah.
If they don't get it in the home, you never know what they're going to get outside the door. And I'm not saying that it's going to be all bad. They could find a coach or someone else to help them instill what they needed. But if it's not in the home, who knows?
Right.
So
Right.
I'm grateful for them. Even to this day, my kids are my life. Like
Right.
I gotta cut the cord. I gotta cut the cord, guys.
Listen,
They're all big. I
listen.
don't want them to leave.
Chad's 32, and I haven't cut that
Oh,
cord yet. Sometimes he'll
gosh.
be like, "Mom," and I'm like,
Yes.
"Oh, but
Yes.
Chad."
Right. No, they keep me going,
Yes.
and I think that fear of loss, we just hang on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a bad thing.
No.
I mean, it could slow them down a little bit. It
Right.
slows them down,
Yeah.
but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And again, because of my greatest loss,
Mhm.
I've instilled greatness in them.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be the mom that I am if I didn't experience that hardship. Even going through it now, it's still hardship.
Sure.
The holidays are coming up. I don't know. The holidays are hard.
Mhm.
It's like Halloween, and then boom,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just go through it, and Thanksgiving, and it's heavier. Christmas, it's
Mhm.
heavier, and then
Mhm.
their birthdays. So Luciana's birthday is in February. Dominic's birthday is in January. Israel's birthday is in February. The twins' birthday is in February, and
Oh.
John's is in July.
Oh,
So I'm
geez.
telling you this because, this is just another aspect of how I see things through my positive light. Like I said, Halloween, it gets heavy.
Mhm.
It's heavy.
Mhm.
And then Christmas, the New Year's, and then their birthdays. Luciana's birthday is February 16th. The twins' birthday is February 10th. Israel's birthday is the one that passed is February 12th. So experiencing that, I am forced to be joyous and happy because we're celebrating our daughter's birthday,
Right.
the twins' birthday, Dominic's birthday is in January. So
Yeah.
January 25th at that, so it's at the end of January. All the other 4 in February and 1 in July, but I was forced to continue to celebrate life.
Yes.
Even though right after on the 12th, I am distraught. I'm sad he's not here, and I'm hurt because there's not a real life celebration.
Right. Right.
So I feel like that was almost destined.
Mhm.
It's destined for me to to go through that, but I'm also forced to continue to live.
Right.
I have to.
Yeah.
You got to celebrate these birthdays. Don't be sad for me, Mom. Don't be sad for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
we're right here, and it's a fight. It's a dog fight.
Mhm.
It's a dog fight.
Yeah.
And then his passing is March 28th. So then you continue and get through that. But it wasn't meant for me to be sad my whole life. No one's meant to be sad their whole life. No. And it's easier said than done.
Mhm.
It's easier said than done. It's a work in progress.
It is. And I want to add to that real quick because, I've just talked to some moms recently that have lost babies. And, they talk to me and they're like, well, you're so strong. And I'm like, it's been 29 years, and for you, like 21 years, 21 years, did
21,
you say? Okay. And so I'm like, believe me, it didn't, I mean, I struggled with my addiction and everything through all that. And I didn't get here today.
Right.
I wasn't like this 29 years ago at all. It's like, and it's a work in progress,
Yes.
but that's the thing. It's progressing.
Yes.
And just keep going.
And just knowing that, like, tell yourself, I think I have this eternal person that talks to me. I'm not crazy, but it's just, I tell myself every day, you'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to get through. It just depends. It depends on the season, depends on, what my struggles are, the obvious struggles are. But, I remember being at church at my son's funeral and just sitting there with my head down, and something inside of me, God, angels, just saying, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I can take that and I've carried that with me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be okay. Even on my worst day, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can begin to instill that in somebody.
Right.
when we cross paths with people that are struggling themselves.
Right.
They may not believe it, they may not take it for what it is, maybe that moment,
Right.
but hopefully,
Yes.
that moment, like, wow, look, so-and-so went through this, and we talked about this, and and it all, connecting the dots, through counseling was a lot of connecting the dots for me. And once you understand you, and you understand your regression and your progression, you know how to move.
Yes.
And it's hard out here. You gotta know how to move.
You do have to know how to move, for sure. It is hard out
They're
here.
not dance moves,
right?
Tammy.
Not dance
You know
moves. I know how to do
those-
those dance moves,
She
but
does.
yeah, it is. You do have to know how to move, and you have to have. I mean, I feel like the faith and just believing, like you just said, that internal voice telling yourself, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
You can do this. You can get through this. And I remember when I first started talking to myself, like you said, I'm not crazy either.
And
sometimes I do answer myself too, though. But
that's when you're not crazy.
Yeah, they're all good answers though.
Right.
But that's the thing. I remember when I first kind of was like, people like, well, you gotta give yourself a pep talk, and I'm like, that's weird, right? And now I'm like, I'm in the mirror talking to myself, like,
you are beautiful, you are fine, you're gonna be all right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's that. But through all of that, I know that God has made sure that we knew that we were going to be okay, and that He knew that one day, He knew one day we were going to meet, but He knew one day that we would be able to help other people.
Absolutely.
And I believe that in the world that we live in, and it's a dark world right now, I know, but that is what everybody is here for, just to help each other.
Yes.
And be a light to others.
Yes.
And just to serve others, and just be that person,
right.
Right. And it's what I'm trying to do.
Right. And I think through just the positive thinking and just being who we are, like, we attract sometimes the people with the dim light, and we're so glad to shine, just to be their light while their light is dim.
Yes.
Don't realize, sometimes I talk to people, and I don't realize that they do live in a dark world. And I don't want them to live in that dark world. I've been in that dark world, and you don't know if you're coming or going. And the things that just naturally come out of our mouths, or the things that just the comfort, whatever it is, whatever our energy, whatever it is, it just brings them back to life. And I think that's why I'm here on earth.
Yeah. You are a light in this world, let me tell you.
I think that's my calling, is just being a light.
Yeah.
And it makes me happy. And it's not like I pinpoint so-and-so and say, God, you look sad, like, let me talk to you. It just comes naturally, and it evolves.
Yes.
And later on, you'll get that, hey, thank you. Or you might not get a thank you. You might get, well, hey, so-and-so ran into you, and, they just said so many great things about you, or they just, really, really took in what you said. And, thank you so much. We've been trying to talk to them, and, whatever you did or whatever you said just really, really got them back up on their feet, or just kind of, thinking a little better about themselves. And that throws me off, because what comes so naturally for us, we just do it, we walk away.
Right.
And then, bam, here you are, just being glorified.
And then you're like, well,
what I do?
Being me.
What did I do?
Right. What did I do?
What did I do? Yeah. My kids say that. So I'm like, Mom, everyone knows you.
Yeah. Chan does that to me too.
Everyone
knows you.
Right. Are they from the casino?
Right.
No,
it's funny because
maybe, I don't know.
Chad, when he was little and going to school, everybody knew we were Chad's mom and Chad's grandma. Well, now Chad, everybody comes up and goes, are you Tammy's son? He's like, when did that flip, Mom? I'm like, I don't know when it flipped, but it did. But it's funny because that's the same thing. And it's just because of that energy that we have. It's just that we just have that because we want to be a blessing to others. We want to be that light for others.
Right. Unconsciously, it just comes.
Yeah. Just a natural thing. I just had a little lady, I got to tell you
Mhm.
this, the other day. She come around the corner in my truck, and my truck says Hope on it. And she was probably, I want to say she's like 80, 82 years old,
Mhm.
right? And she come around the corner and she's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And she's like, is your name Hope, or is it Hope from the heart, like that? And I said, my name is Tammy, and it's Hope from the heart. And she's like, that is just beautiful. So then I told her a little bit about the podcast, and she said, well, honey, I don't have a smartphone and I don't have a computer, but I think what you're doing is a really great thing. And I said, well, thank you so much. I said, I'm just trying to be a light in this dark world. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, well, I'm just going to tell you, you just shine bright all over the place, and you just don't ever forget that. And I got in my truck and I went, I cried like a baby, because it was just so sweet. It just threw me off.
It was literally just genuine words from a stranger. That it was a message. It was just a reminder to keep doing what you're doing, to keep going. So that was an out loud. That was outside message.
Yes.
We say I tell myself, just get through it. You get through it. You get through it. And we get those outside messages, and they're amazing. They throw you off. They just they keep us grounded, and they keep us doing what we really just are destined to do. I feel like it's just destiny. I mean, if I'm living here without my son, but I'm also bringing light to the world, or light to my family, or light to my friends, or even a stranger. If I can bring light to somebody, then I am here for a reason. I'm here for a reason, man. And I can't deny it. It's undeniable. It's just, anything that I can put out into the world, I do. I use a lot of Facebook. It's just, I know my audience, and I just want to be that voice, and I am,
You are.
I just say what's on my mind, and, a lot of people don't know how to use that, or they don't know how to take it either. They don't know how to take it. But, some people need to see, just that positive writing, or, hey, look, it's been bad, but I'm okay. Or, hey, this reminds me of this, and, it's, something I can't explain to you, and I wish you'd never go through, but I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this. We've been talking about doing this interview for
a long
time. Since I started Hope.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work out. No. And I told her, I said, well, it's going to work out. And the day that it works out, it's going to be the best interview. And it definitely has been amazing. Is there any last things that you want to say to anybody?
Keep going. Keep going. Don't stop. Just know that you're not alone. Your struggles are what is going to make you who you are and what you're meant to be later on. It's not a personal attack. It's not meant for you to carry so heavy in your heart. It's not. It's just to make you stronger for whatever is to come. That's all. It's awesome. Strong. Just be strong, guys. Be strong. Don't stop. And just know that there are people, there is help, and seek it, and it'll find you. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Liz. I appreciate it. I love you, girl. Love ya.
Thank you.
You guys all have a great day, night, whatever time it is you're listening to this. Bye.